Hello everybody, this is Stevie the Scotsman here. In front of me I have a starter relay from a 97 Chevy Blazer. I want to go through the no start no crank diagnosis. I'm an ex-aircraft avionics technician and I want to just show you a systematic approach. This is a better approach rather than just throwing parts at it. I had this vehicle towed from my work to my garage. People are like, oh Stevie, try this, try that. I'm like, yeah, I'll diagnose it and let you know. So here's the step through process I went through. I've had this truck for a couple of years. I've had a couple of starter issues. And what I'll do is, I'll start at the starter relay. So if you look at the starter relay here, you can see on the vehicle, it's a middle relay in that firewall. If you disconnect that and get it on the side, you'll see there's a couple of wires here. Now there's a yellow wire that comes via the ignition switch and the neutral safety switch. There's the red wire, which is the 12 volt feed, and there's the purple wire. This purple wire actually goes to the solenoid on the starter motor. So really this is like using a half split method. This component is easy to get to and I'll use this as a base for my diagnosis. So the first thing I will do, I will stick a meter on that yellow wire. Just put a negative on the battery, put a meter on there, and when I go to the run on the ignition, I'm looking for 12 volts. I have a diagram that I'm going to throw at you shortly and you can take a look. So that's the first diagnosis. If you do not have 12 volts on that yellow wire, then you're looking at tracing it back through the wiring, through the ignition switch and the neutral safety switch. Okay, we do have 12 volts on that wire. Okay, what next? What we do then, we look to see, do we have 12 volts on the purple wire, which feeds the solenoid? Alright, we have 12 volts on that solenoid wire. We trace it down to the starter. So what we're left with the starter and the solenoid and the flywheel being jammed or the engine being seized. So really, the base of this diagnosis is we're going to either work forwards or backwards on this system. As I said, I apologise for the crappy lighting and the video. I thought, you know, I'll just get it done now. This is a 97. I hope it helps people out here because there's not a lot of information out there and that was my main reason for making this video. So I apologise for the light and let's just take a look at the diagram here and see if I can throw some light on this. Alright guys, so sorry about the shadows. So here we have the starter relay. You can see I've got P for a probe point. This is where you're going to start your meter. Alright, and then there's actually the input there, which is this yellow wire. The input comes via the neutral safety switch and the ignition switch. Okay, and then obviously the neutral safety switch is going to be contacted when you're in park and neutral, and stating the obvious, ignition switch is when you go to run. So basically you have 12 volts at the input of that starter relay, you get up to there. The 12 volts comes in on that red wire as I mentioned earlier. Now then, you have the purple wire that comes from the relay. It then goes to one of the contacts on the starter motor. On the starter motor here, it's under the right wheel well. I'll show you that towards the end of the video. Now there's two contacts on there. One is a 12 volt feed that comes directly from the battery. Okay? The other feed is the purple wire, which I've called switch 12 volts. So when this is operating successfully, basically you turn the key, the switch 12 volts goes to the solenoid, kicks in the contacts, your motor turns the flywheel, and the car should start up. Now one premise I've made here that you have a good sound working battery. In this case, I know this is a sound working battery. You can go online, find out how to load test the battery, and basically what I would suggest is use a battery tender, get it charged, have someone like AutoZone do a load test. Once you have a sound battery, then it just gives you a good baseline here. So really guys, this is what I would advocate to go and trace on this 97 Blazer. I'll tell you now exactly what happened when I done the diagnosis. I had nothing on the input of the starter, really. Nothing on the 12 volt feed. So then what I've done is, okay, next logical step, go to the neutral safety switch. In this case, the truck was in park, went underneath the tranny, basically moved it manually and put it into park, and the truck fired up. So what that tells me is that basically the shifter cable is worn, and I will probably just go ahead and either adjust it or replace it. So that's what happened on occasion. A couple of years ago, I had a situation where I did have 12 volts on that yellow wire to the starter, but I had nothing on the purple coming out of the starter really, but I had red coming in. I replaced the starter really. Life is good. I have yet to have the starter fail on this. However, obviously the way to detect it would be if you've got 12 volts on that switch, 12 volts, and you can freely turn the crankshaft, you've got 12 volts on the battery, more than likely your starter is toast. Obviously if you hear a clicking, it tells you the solenoid's working, and it's probably the actual motor. As I said, I really apologise for the kind of crappy drawings, but hopefully it gives you an idea if you're working on this vehicle, or any really starting system, to just use some logic. You know, don't just start throwing parts at this stuff and hope that it works. You know, really, whether you're repairing any other car or a tractor, you know, really you're looking for 12 volts to the starter, typically switch 12 volts and a permanent feed to that starter. And using something, and basically all systems will be along these lines. So, as I said guys, if this helps one person in the world, it's been worth it. It's Super Bowl Sunday, I'm getting to watch the game, and I am bidding you farewell from Snowmageddon, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Take care. If you found this useful and you want to give me a buck, I don't do any advertising. I do run a wee organisation, I play the pipes and try and raise money for helpingthehumble.org. So if you go to Helping the Humble and you found this useful, hey, give me a buck. It goes to people who are not lazy and want to help themselves. Alright guys, take it easy. All the best. Cheers.